This one's a doozy, guys. You guys are really, really confusing me. As in, there is such an obvious reason that you are living such a lame life. And so inside of this video, I'm going to finally, it's okay. It's not your fault. It's how the world works. It's how we're programmed. It's once I started letting everybody start getting those trophies. And so what we're going to do is inside of here, it's okay. It's not your fault. I'm just going to help you kind of understand the mistake that you're making. And it's very obvious. I think there's so many of you have the potential to be such incredible human beings and to do such incredible things. But for some reason, not for some reason, it's pretty obvious actually, but you're capping yourself off all because you're chasing after some bullshit dream. You're chasing after this idea of like passive income and not having to work and wanting to be a lazy sack of shit and not providing to society. But here's the thing. That's up. I don't want to be friends with you if you just want to be lazy in your life. I think that is a disrespect and a disgrace to not only your family name, but to society. And anybody that is wanting something from nothing, I think is disgusting. It's ugly. It's terrible. You need to cut that shit out. At least if you want me to think like have any sort of respect for you. I have zero respect for people that do nothing except want to just collect checks and not do anything with their life. I think that is such a wasted potential. There was so much time and energy and things put into you as a human being, and you're not reaching that potential that you're actually fully capable of. And that's okay. I understand. We grow up in this way of like, oh, you got to work so hard. And then there's some kid that made a duck load of money from cryptocurrencies. And you don't like, you're just like, oh, I want to have that lifestyle. No, here's the thing is I want you to remove that from your mind that you want to do nothing for your life and instead exchange that with you want to do everything you can to provide the most amount of value to society. So that way you are able to leave your mark and change the world with your DNA and everything that is your brain and your specialty and what you're good at in your craft. And so mastery is the secret. Mastery is the thing that you are looking for. Mastery is the thing that gets it to where you can have a mediocre life to where you can have an above average life that you can only ever fathom in a video game. I'm talking about GTA 5 and you beat all the mission and everything like that. And then now you get to just mess around and do whatever you want and build whatever you want with your life. So at least get to that point. Get to the point where you are the man or the woman that is someone that has provided so much value to society. You get to choose whether or not you want to work with for the rest of your life. And then it's kind of okay to maybe take your foot off the gas. But here's the thing is if you're just going into this straight up, like you just want to do the least amount possible to make the most amount possible. You have like 50% of the equation correct there, but you're doing it all wrong. Instead, what you need to do, and I know I'm kind of aggressively just yelling at you inside here on this video, I was fired up after watching some Andrew Tate here. The thing is you need to realize that as soon as you try to get something from nothing, you lost. You lost. What you need to do instead is you need to change your brain to how can I provide as much value as possible with the most amount of value or the most amount of leverage, me working my ass off with the maximum amount of leverage to get outsized returns that are only possible for someone that is able to build this leverage and have these skills. That is what you're looking for. That is the dream life. As soon as you figure out that recipe and how to maximize your leverage while maximizing your skill sets and becoming a level 10 superhero in this game of life, that is where you get to really get to the point where you're changing, where you're impacting so much in society and in life and providing so much value to the world that is going to pay you whatever you want to get paid. Hundreds of millions of dollars are going to be able to be yours to claim if you just allow for yourself to be that person instead of being that lazy sack of shit that wants to do the least amount of work possible to make the most amount of money. Like I said, I think that's a very dumb idea. I think that's very capping yourself. And so let me hop into my computer and kind of show you the two different pathways here. So essentially you have two different pathways here. You either have the pathway of where you can decide to be this lazy sack of shit, or you can be the type of person where you're having, here, we'll put the lazy one down here. You can be the person that is this superhero, Superman person that is an inspiration to the world and provides insane amounts of value to the world. it really, like, I think it's disrespectful to cut yourself off from this reality and something that is able to really make an impact on the world. And all it comes down to is mastering your craft and becoming an expert and a master at what you do. So let me paint this picture for you. Imagine this, you here as this person right here, as this squiggle, as this star right here over to the right. So the thing is when you are somebody that people are excited to share that they know you and they know who you are, then what starts to happen is then everybody starts getting sent over to your way for you to be the person that is the go-to expert. So as an example for this, for me, when I got started into business and making money online, what I really found to be my thing was YouTube and building YouTube channels and getting really good at content strategies and making thumbnails and making a lot of money off of YouTube. And so what I did was I branded myself as the YouTube person, and I became an expert at YouTube. I became the master of YouTube. I became the go-to person that anybody that knew my name and knew me personally was a status raise in their life that I was friends with them. I made sure that I was somebody that was successful enough in the space that I could help out anybody and make people more money by just simply knowing me and having a couple conversations and me telling them a few things on what they should do with their brand or their YouTube channel, or their name or their marketing or their content and things of that matter. And so what happened is I became the master in this field. I put in thousands of hours, over 10,000 hours in YouTube, and watching countless amount of video after video and breaking down thumbnails and content and scripts. It was just countless amount of hours that I put into this. And I became the master inside of here. And then what ended up happening is with the attention and with me building up people's, like me becoming something that made people look cool by just knowing me, meant that money came my way. I would get onto people's different podcasts and people would come to me being like, Devon, here, take my money, help me, show me how to make more money. And time again, it got to the point where people just wanted, like, it got dumbfounded. I was trying to learn how to manage all this because I had so many people throwing money at me. I had to figure out how to not only take their money, but also turn it into a thing that would make them so much more money off of them giving me money. Like I said, guys, a lot of people were throwing money at me. And I didn't know how to like work with this at some point. It got kind of weird. Like it got weird. People just wanted to give me their money all the time. I got kind of confused with it. I didn't know what to do until I figured out how to really build some strong frameworks and processes that I was able to like kind of document and figure out kind of what was the better way to kind of work with people and start building out a strong set of values. But that is the problem that essentially that you want to get to, is where you are a master in your field to where people are just throwing their money at you. They're just dumping their bank accounts, throwing it at you because they know that you're somebody that is going to help them do better in their lives or grow their lives in a certain area, whether it be health, wealth, love, any of those things. You want to become a master at it. So for me, I just picked the business model of YouTube. It was something that I loved. It's something that I'm like, this video that you're watching, I may only have like 20 videos at the time of recording this video, but I have made literally thousands, probably over 5,000, 6,000, 7,000 videos now in my career. I have made so many YouTube videos and I have had so many videos get millions of views, and I've made so much money off of YouTube, and I have impacted so many people's lives that even if you're watching this video right now, you've spent a decent amount of time on YouTube, you've seen my thumbnails and you've seen my YouTube videos before, and you probably watched some of my videos if you're not already a fan of some of my YouTube channels already. And it's because I've put out so many videos, I have put so much money and everything that I have into becoming a badass at YouTube. And then now what I do is, now that I've become the master and now that I'm like kind of like this YouTube badass or this person that makes a ton of money, it just takes a lot of hours. Like I'm the Bruce Lee of YouTube. Now that I'm the Bruce Lee of YouTube, people are just wanting to be even just around my existence and understanding the things that I know with YouTube, because they know how much money and how much change that's going to be able to provide into their lives. And so I get to decide how much I charge people. I get to decide who I want to talk to. I get to decide where I want to be, if I even want to work with people, if I would just want to stick to myself, if I want to hire people and bring people a part of this. I am the person that is in control of my life, and I get to decide the destiny of my life because I have become the master at this. And so you can do the exact same thing. So whether it be a business or whether it be a business or a skill set, or let's say some sort of like weird niche or industry, or like, I don't know, let's say health, nutrition, fitness, love, romance, journaling, sales, just whatever it is. Become like, I had this baseball coach when I was in college playing baseball, And he told me, Devon, I don't care what you do in your life, as long as you go become the best at it. Because I was starting to come to the end of my career with baseball, and I was starting to kind of like, I don't know. And he told me, Devon, I don't care what you do. I don't care if it's baseball or what it is, but all I care about is that you become the best at whatever it is that you do. And so I took that to heart. He's like, I don't care if you're a trombone player and you become the best trombone player in the world. Just become the best at whatever you do. So ever since then, I always look to find the things that pull me towards it, and I become the best at it that I possibly can. So this is always changing, kind of like some of the skill sets that I'm developing to become the best at this kind of category or this area. But now, so like in my life, I'm kind of more moving towards like being a master marketer. So now with this YouTube experience, now with all this content experience, now with all this scripting, now I'm moving all over to where I have higher leverage things where more people want to just give me insane amounts of money for the most minute amount of my time, even just to be able to say that they know me, people paying me money. And so what you want to look for is something and just become the best at it that's going to provide value to the marketplace. It doesn't matter if you're an artist. It doesn't matter if you're a hairstylist. You just want to become the best at it and document it. So here are some things that you can do to really develop mastery in your world. So that way you can get oversized returns and get paid way more than any sort of salary job ever can do. So what you need to do is, first things first, is you need to pick what it is that you are going to be doing, and picking the niche or the industry or the concept or whatever. So once you've kind of picked what it is that you're doing, then once you picked your niche, now what you do is you want to figure out you want to learn all of the basics. You want to learn the basics really heavy. And as you're learning all of the basics, you want to not just learn things, but you want to like execute these things as soon as you possibly can. So if, let's say, for example, you learn a new way to close people or handle an objection in sales when you're on the sales process. You want to go and apply that as soon as you possibly can. If you found a new business model that you want to go and do and you want to become an expert at it, so let's say that you want to build YouTube channels like I have, then what you need to do is you just need to pick something and apply it immediately. So if you go through some of my YouTube content that I've created on one of my other channels, you just go and apply those things immediately and pick a niche, start going and producing the content. And as you go, as soon as you start executing, that's where the learning and the education really starts coming into play. And then what you want to do is have the long-term in mind when it comes to this. When it comes to your skill set and what you're mastering, is you need to be invested in the long term. It's going to take way longer than you thought it's going to take. I've talked about this in other videos on this channel. The higher horizon of you really becoming, let's say at the end of this, from beginner to master, truly is a journey. It's not a destination of you becoming a master. Instead, it's a journey of you constantly hitting different milestones along your pathway until eventually you become, lo and behold, this badass master that's over here. And so instead of just viewing this as you're going to do this for the next month or two, and then you're going to be worth like millions and millions of dollars or whatever and make a ton of money, instead view it as you're going to be doing this for the span of, let's say, the next 10 years. And each year, there's kind of like a stage and a season that you're going through in the development of your character. And what you need to do is apply the scientific method in testing out all of these different methods, like in all of these different hypotheses as to what are the different ways of going about doing things with the skill sets. Let's say if you're a hairstylist, you're cutting the hair too short, you're using different type of scissors, you're trying different approaches, and you just need to experiment as much as you possibly can, because as soon as you get those failures underneath your belt, and as soon as you make all the mistakes that you humanly possibly can make, then that is where you have a data point that for a fact whether or not it is a healthy data, like whether or not that's a good idea or not. For me, when I start a new business, I have made so many mistakes. I have done so many failures. I've done so many different tests in my business. I've made so many little micro optimizations that I know whether or not something is good or not. And I can get straight to the success and the result faster. And I can learn what are the key variables that makes my product or my thing or my videos or my thumbnail or my title. I know what makes them the best. And I know the few things that I can test and the keywords to test that are going to be able to maximize my results in the shortest amount of time possible. Because I learned if you test too many variables, then it gets everything all wonky and nobody really knows what your stuff is about. If I started making videos about cars and then I was talking about like self-help, and I was talking about how to become a millionaire, and the next one I was talking about fitness and working out, you guys would not know what the hell this channel is. And so I learned that, and you got to learn that inside of your world. You got to learn what it is inside of your niche or your industry or your skill set. What are the things that you're doing wrong? If you're doing this, let's say you're becoming like some jujitsu badass expert, whatever you want to call it, or some boxer, then what you need to do is you need to get choked out a bunch of times and figure out all the wrong ways of doing things before you start figuring out the right things. It's like Charlie Munger says in his inverse problem solving. It's not about it. Instead of looking at what are the things you need to do right to get said result, instead you need to look at the things that you to do wrong that won't get you said results. So if you want to ask yourself, instead of asking yourself, how do I get ripped? How do I get jacked? How do I get really fit and big muscles? Instead, ask yourself, how do I get fat and how do I not grow my muscles and how do I become weaker? And that's simple. You know, you eat a lot of unhealthy foods, a lot of sugars, and you just sit on the couch all day. You have a very inactive lifestyle. It's very black and white and it's very simple. But sometimes we have to, it's not so simple. It's not so black and white. And we need to experience the failures in order to understand what success actually looks like and what do we not need to do that is going to get us in the way, that is going to get in the way of our ability to get said result. So to really drive this home for you guys is that instead of looking for the tactic or the strategy or the shortcut, instead look for what's the hard way. What's the difficult way? What is the way that we can become the best at the thing that we're doing? What is the way that we can get the most amount of data sets and the most amount of experiences and the most amount of lessons learned as fast as we humanly possibly can? So that way moving forward, we can become a master at the craft and people come to us and take our years of learning and experiences and they come to us and ask us, how do we skip all those and how do we get straight to the point? And that is where value comes into play. And that is where you get to meet amazing people and incredible people. And that is where money just comes pouring down from the heavens and everybody is wanting to give you Google's amount of money to be able to be in the vicinity of you, to be able to buy one of your products, to be able to be a part of your name, is for you to become a master at the things that you are doing.